morning, everyone. Big up to all of you for joining us at this time. And a happy Christmas as well. Christmas Eve. I didn't get the memo. I've got no Crimbo hat, but obviously Adrian and Lee have got the memo. So big up to both of them and Merry Christmas to you both, boys. Adrian, big up for coming on, mate. How are you? Are you set for Crimbo?
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. Am I set for Crimbo? No. I only finished work on Thursday, and then it dawned on me that, oh my God, there's only 5 days to go. So yeah, been a little bit today, and I should be all right.
Yeah, man. Listen, Christmas Eve, every guy's going to go rush into the shops. I'm going to be one of them.
Yeah,
right, what we got to get food wise in. Better start the Crimbo shopping now. I must admit, I am all set for it. Are you, Lee Judges?
I am. Don't worry about that. Like all done. Like, and I don't be going out there Christmas Eve shopping, guys. The place is a nightmare. Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Asda, whatever one you go to, it is a nightmare. Like, you know. So,
talking from experience there, Lee, are you?
I have talking experience of past. I've done it before. It's absolute nightmare. Stay indoors, enjoy Christmas Eve, and listen, enjoy tomorrow, like, you know. So yeah, but all the presents are done. You know, it does help that Michelle does most of
it. Well, yeah, my Michelle does the same. So I'm very lucky.
I'll tell you, it's funny, isn't it? Like saying to me, "Oh yeah, no, it's been a real tough one. It's been real rough." But the missus has had a rough time.
Do you know what? I am going to say this now, right? And I mean this sincerely. And a big up to Donna, your mum in the chat, and everything like that. The people that do all this. If someone said to me, right, you've got to go out and get all the presents, get all the food and all that, like, Christmas would be off the charts for me. Like, you know what I mean? I would say, like, no, let's not celebrate Christmas no more. You know what I mean? I've got about 4 or 5 Christmas presents to wrap. I don't know about you guys. I hate it with a vengeance. I'm really crap at it.
Terrible at wrapping, I am. Absolutely terrible.
You know, I'll wrap one present. My wife will wrap 10. That's how quick she is.
Honestly, I'm the same as you, mate. I'll get one and I'll get the corners in, and I think I'm really proud of that. And then while I look beside me, and
yeah.
How have they done that quick? You know,
how do they get the thing where they get all the sides all tucked in nicely?
Oh no, they do it.
It's
mate.
all neatly done, and then like, you know. When I get a Christmas present, my Christmas presents are so well wrapped up. I feel that I can't rip them open. You know what I mean? I have to do it.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
You know,
it folds out nicely, doesn't
it? Yeah. Anyway, listen, it's always good. It's funny because my mum's in the chat there saying it that like I grew up and I used to go, oh, you know, I used to open saying, oh, cheers, mum, cheers, dad, and my dad used to go, what you got? He'd have no idea, you know. And my mum would be like, you should be knowing what they're getting. We're supposed to be from us too. I mean, my old man had no idea what he's doing.
Good old Stevie's at the Arsenal. What he like? I love it. I love it. Like,
Oh, mate. Listen, that's where we're going to start. No fixture for us to Boxing Day, which is a strange one. But we have got West Ham again, which is we always get West Ham, don't we, around Christmas time at home. It is bizarre that happens. But last night, Lee, you were there, and it was, I'll tell you what, actually, Arsenal fan, Liverpool fan, or neutral, that was a hell of a football game, weren't it? That was a proper cracker to watch. I enjoyed it, man.
I've got to say that listen, the actual game, I think flew. Watching the game, I didn't, you know, before. Do you know what? I looked at do you know some games you look at the clock because you maybe something's not going on and, you know, you're counting down, you might be winning 1-0 or whatever, like. I looked at the clock like the first time about 80 minutes. I thought, oh my God, this game's gone. You couldn't take your eyes off it. Couldn't take your eyes off it. It was a great game of football. Great to be involved in it. The atmosphere, by the way, was unbelievable.
What's it stand like, Lee?
So it's unreal. It's unreal. It's taken away the atmosphere from the away fans because you're out in the front where the roof's so high now, so you don't get that noise from under the roof. Yeah. Where they are above it, the roof's obviously nearer, like, do you know what I mean? Like, so you can hear them, and it's rumbling up over there. Actually, didn't really hear the cop that much this time around, but the atmosphere was unbelievable. Their stadium, by the way, considering it's still Anfield, is incredible. Like, what
I don't know, they do it. It's in the middle of a housing estate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible. Like what they've done there, unbelievable. Like how they've done it and designed it. The atmosphere was fantastic, hostile. Yeah, they was up for it, like, you know what I mean? Like, they did put the speakers on at the beginning, you know what I mean? They did for that, so they always do, like, you know what I mean? But drowns out everything. But other than that, after that, I thought it was they was, you know, credit to them, like, you know, just tells you, though, like, you know, how up they were for that game, because we are the real deal. I thought we was fantastic on the day for 20, 25 minutes. The one thing that really did impress me about the game, boys, was that when they put it on us, and there was a spell when they really did put it on us, and the atmosphere was really, really loud. You couldn't hardly hear yourselves. We rode it and got back into the game, and I thought was the better team going towards the end of it. Like, you know, the couple of concerns we're going to talk about, like, you know, the goal. You know, Zinchenko. Listen, he's been getting pelters at the moment. Like, you know, I didn't think he defended that badly. He did for the goal, but he didn't get no help. But other than that, he didn't. He was giving the ball away more than anything, like, you know, when he was trying to play. And the one thing I will say, and I've watched it today, and it is a concern that you're 1-1 at Anfield, playing really well, battling at all of that, like, to have a 5 versus 1 situation, like, you know, you don't see that at school level, like, you know, boys, you know what I mean? How have we let ourselves get into that position? That's something that was a bit worrying, to be fair. Like, and do you know what would have been really annoying? If they'd have scored from that, all that good work we done on the day, we'd have lost that game. And so,
if it weren't for the ball bowl, I was going to spin to Adrian offline. Before, if that ball wouldn't have been bobbling, that would have gone in, you know, because it was that pass from Salah, and it's not Salah's fault, but the way that it was bobbling so much along that ground, which I will come into in a minute, because that ground, there was something wrong with that ground. I didn't see anyone stand.
Well, that was another thing.
They're all slipping everywhere. But for me, and the way that bobbles, that is the crossbar. Trent's putting that in if that ain't bobbling. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Talking about that, Dan, I was a little bit peeved with it, because if you ever look back on the freak, the corner, I think Odegaard slips or
Zinchenko slips and Odegaard falls into him. Yeah, that's
right.
So
that was it there. We had the chance of Martinelli when he's just about to put it in, he slips. Saka slipping all over the place. So they've done something to that pitch, because I've never seen that before. I've never seen so many Arsenal players slipping, like, you know what I mean? Like, why were Arsenal players slipping and they weren't? So they needed to get
their studs on and we didn't.
Yeah, something happened there, like, where they didn't sort their boots out, right? And in the end, if you ever look at the incident between Saka and their left back, Saka slips. And that's what happens. If you ever look back at it, I see it today, he slips. And it ends up breaking his collarbone. So for all what they've done and all that, like, cost them as well, like, you know, cost them a player, like, you know. So
I still don't think that's a foul, by the way.
I don't think it was a foul. But the one thing I will say about it, and before people go on with moaning and all that, listen, they're at home. If they want to water their pitch and make it whatever they do, or not put the grass up an extra inch or whatever, that is their prerogative, because they're at home. They can do what they like. You know what I mean? I've got no beef with that. If they want to waterlog their pitch and make their, you know, give themselves an advantage over us, go for it, because that's what you've got to do, because you're the home team, like, you know. So listen, I thought, again, bit like deja vu. We started off fantastically well again, like, you know, and I'm an idiot. I'm going to say it now, I'm an idiot. I turn around to my mate and say, well, we could win this 3 or 4 if we carry on playing like this. You know what I mean? And I know, and then the ball comes over, it's 1-1. I said, well, maybe not, maybe 4-1. But like, I thought we played really, really well in the game. And I'm going to say it now. I've watched it, and I was pleased that we got the point and everything. I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't go and win the game, because I look at it, and I'll be really honest with you. I look at it when Liverpool and Man City were better than us, right? They come to the Emirates and they beat us. Liverpool come and beat us. You know what I mean? Like, we've been better than Liverpool in the last two seasons. We have. We're a better team. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think their midfield was that great yesterday, and we still haven't beaten them at that poxy place. You know what I mean? Like, but listen, yeah, we got the result. We got a result. We didn't, you know. I didn't think we was going to lose the game from word go. I had not an arrogance, but a confidence we weren't going to lose that game. And at the end of it, you know, we're still top, and we go again, don't we? Like, you know.
Yeah, listen, I mean, Adrian, it's the same point as last season, but for some reason, there's a lot more Arsenal fans feeling a lot more positive about this point than last year's. Do you think that's because we were 2-0 up and it was like the title was in sight? It's a different scenario? Because for me, I left with a little bit of sigh of relief this time. And last time I was absolutely frustrated as hell. So I'm trying to work out why that was, if you get me.
Well, I just think we went up there last year, win that game, we probably win the league, didn't we? That was the catalyst for us to then, draw a couple, lose a couple after the Anfield game, wasn't it? And the last place you want to be going up when you're up there trying to win a league with got 10 games to go and it's tight is to go to Anfield, isn't it? Really. So the fact that we've gone up there again, dominated the game in certain periods. They had their periods as well where they dominated, but. I'm just pleased we haven't got to go there this season anymore, obviously, because it's pressure, isn't it? And when Anfield gets going, I mean, I was worried about yesterday's game, if I'm honest. 5:30 kick-off, all the scouts was getting on the beer pretty early doors. Anfield would have been absolutely, well, as you said, Lee, absolutely rocking. And in past games, we get stuffed, don't we? Normally, normally 4 or 5, and we stood up yesterday again. Like we did last year, because we had to do the same. Good result, and again, I think you said to me last night, Dan, we've been to some tough grounds already this year, and that's that is for me. Anfield is the toughest.
Agreed.
It always is for Arsenal. It's the toughest place to go, and we've come away unscathed. So very pleased with the draw, to be fair.
Listen, boys, we need to start talking about how good some of our players are now, because last year we could start talking about how great we were to watch. I think this year we're starting to look at the mentality more than the performances, in my opinion. I'm looking at the season so far. We all know who the good players are. We all know who the players are that can win us games. But actually, it's been about more of the character, mental strength, and also, I'm going to use the word monsters that we have now in our team. And of course, I'm talking about that trio again. Now, judges, last night, I literally watched Saliba and everybody I knew was nervous. Everybody around me was nervous. Everybody around you, I imagine, was nervous and excited as well, but also nervous because you know what Liverpool can do. All of the players I know for a fact have a little bit of nerves in them, but you would not know it from Saliba. I looked at him last night and I thought, you are absolutely incredible. At 22 years old, what the hell are you going to be like at 26 and 28 when you're at your best? Because I said it last night, I think he's the best centre-back in the world, and all you get is stick. Oh, he's not, he ain't done anything, All right, that's fine. He might not be a John Terry because he's gone and won everything in football, right? But right now, if you don't think he's the best centre-back in the world, that's fine. Come debate me. Tell me who is then. Tell me who looks better than him right now, and we'll have a debate about it. Because I don't know one in world football at the moment that looks as good as he does, and as calm as he does, and as composed as he does. There was one moment in the game, I think it was in the second half, towards the end of the game, where you'd be real sort of bricking it as a centre half, one of the most important positions on the pitch. And he just glides past the two players and just sprays it out. And I thought, that is ridiculous. For a 22-year-old, he's just turned 22, by the way, to do that. That ain't like lack of experience or young. If you're old enough, you're good enough, mate. This kid is mustard. And I'll tell you, Lee, I think when we look at his career, whether it's at Arsenal, Real Madrid, wherever he goes, hopefully he stays here. I think when he retires, we will be looking at those names: Rio Ferdinand's, John Terry's. Even you can put one ahead if you want to go Cannavaro's, Puyol's. This guy looks absolutely incredible, and I'm running out of superlatives for him, Lee. I just think he's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. And I had an argument with a fella yesterday, saying that Van Dijk was better and that. And listen, Van Dijk and Canati yesterday were fantastic as well.
All four of them were, in fact. All four centre-half, unreal.
Were unbelievable, all top class, you know what I mean? And it's not only the way, going back to old days and all that, you might be up against a big centre forward. These defenders now are having to take a movement, different sort of things, people dropping in, doing different angles and things like that. But the one thing that I will say this, and people can argue me, right? And they'll go, is Van Dijk better and all that? I'm telling you this now, and this is a fact. At his age, 22, Van Dijk and Saliba is far better than what he is. So if he can go on the same sort of trajectory as him, he's going to be better, And at this moment in time, I listen. I love the coolness of Van Dijk yesterday. That game was a difficult game. I don't think he didn't have a shower. I think he was down the pub afterwards without having a shower. He don't get a sweat on. I'll give him that. He's very, very cool and collective on the ball. So is Saliba. I think the one you're referring to is where he chased down Mo Salah, beat him, went to play it back, faked that, come inside, went round 2 players, and we was on the attack. You know, in the last couple of minutes, Dan. You know what I mean? Back in the old days, and I'm not respecting Tony Adams or.
No, it's changed since then. Yeah,
it's changed. You know what I mean? That would have been in Rosehead, and that would have been the end of it. Football's changed and evolved, and you know, he's not only a fantastic footballer, he's a defender as well. You know, defender, forward, defender, footballer first. His control is very, very good. But there are times, Dan. There was 3 or 4 times yesterday when he could have brought it down and played, but it was a little bit dodgy, and he just cleared his lines. He does the right decision making is as good as anybody I've seen at that age. You know, you wouldn't want to play against him because if I'm up against him, I'm thinking, right, can I outpace him? No. Can I outmuscle him? No. Can I be clever with him? No. And I think in the end, he frustrates you, like, you know. Now, I think he's very, very similar to Rio Ferdinand when he's coming out with the ball and things like that, pace-wise and that. But I think where he's got it over Rio Ferdinand, eventually he's got a little bit more power than Rio Ferdinand. Like, you know, Rio Ferdinand was great for what he done. And that's all I compare him to, more than anybody else. Like, you know,
Rio says it, didn't he? He said he's better than me.
Yeah, I think that he is, and I just like I think if there's one improvement that he's got to make in his game, I don't think he wins enough headers for his physique and power and everything like that. You know, like Gabriel's better in the air than him. If I'd be really honest, I'm not saying he's weak in the air. I'm saying that if he just needs to be a little bit, if he strengthen it up a little bit more. I don't think if you look at his duels, I would say he wins 70%. You know, if you want to be the top, you've got to start winning 80, 90 like that. You know, but other than that, I think he's absolutely outstanding for 22 years of age. I was in awe of him when he was 20, by the way.
No, listen, I saw him at 18 when we were linked with him. And it's funny, I told this story before, but a friend of mine is really into his French football. And he said, we linked with Saliba. And I'd never heard of him, obviously, at the time. And he said, watch St Etienne. Now, I watched them both, and I got them both mixed up because they didn't see their shirt numbers or their faces. I was watching Fofana, you know, the one who went to Leicester. And now
they both played. Yeah, that's right.
Both played together. And I thought, he looks all right, Fofana. He looks all right, but not like, wow, I'm not wowed by him. But I quite like the lad next to him. I don't know what his name is. Now, I thought he was Fofana, right? So when they signed Fofana, I'm like, oh, mate, he looked better than that Saliba. Well, anyway, I walked them the wrong way around because I didn't know they were at 18, right? But when we signed him, I thought, why isn't he playing at Arsenal then? What is it all about? Now, obviously, he stayed at France, the rest is history, and now he's come and he's been fantastic. And I am so pleased that we have managed to keep him because there was definitely in his mind, what should I do here? Am I wanted? I've been told go out to France on loan instead of Rob Holding, who I'm definitely better than. What's going on here, you know? So I'm really glad that we got him. But I wanted to bring in Adrian this because for me, Saliba, Gabriel, Rice, and Partey, I know he ain't played. I think those 4 we can now recognise from the invincible season of Gilberto, Vieira, Campbell, and Toure. Now, they might not be as good as them yet because obviously they're young and a different stage of their career. But I don't think we've had 4 players like that since then. And I think that, you know, fair play to Mikel Arteta. He recognised straight away that we ain't replaced Campbell and Vieira, and he brought in Gabriel and Partey, and he's added to that since Saliba and Declan Rice. And I think that we have to go back as far as the invincible season to find 4 players that you look at in that calibre and go, wow, because we've had, you can reel them off. All of them began with the surname S, didn't they? Senderos, Stepanov, Skilacci, Silvestre. It goes on, right? Absolutely shambolic. I look at them trio now, but also Partey when he does come back. And I think that they are the reason I have more confidence in us winning the league than what we're doing up the front of the pitch. Because I look at the away games we're going to, and they're the ones that are turning up, man. So I wanted to get your thoughts on those at the back, bruv.
Well, there's a famous saying, isn't it? Attackers will win your games and defenders will win your leagues. It's you know, we are hard to beat, and the reason why we're hard to beat is because we've got a spine now, which is, you know, top draw. But you know, obviously there's a little bit of debate with our goalkeeper at the moment, but you know, he's slowly getting a little bit better, isn't he? But in front of him, when you've got the likes of Saliba and Gabriel, it's all about partnerships as well when you're defending. both of them, they know each other inside out. And, look at Ben White, actually. Ben White had a really good season at centre-half not long ago, didn't he? And he's obviously been shifted out to right-back now. But these two, they're just colossus. And then in front of him, you've got, I can't believe how good Declan Rice actually is. We knew he was good. We knew England international. But unbelievable. I've never seen a player with an engine like him and be so calm on the ball as well, strong in the tackle. I mean, there were times yesterday where we were on the ropes, and who was there to tackle on the edge of the 18-yard box? Rice, and that is a centre half's dream, Lee, isn't it? When you've got
unbelievable, yeah,
someone who can step into that holding midfield role and screen that back line, delay play long enough to everyone else get back behind the ball, and then when you've got two monsters in behind Rice and Gabriel and Saliba. I can't go back. You look at the Invincible side. I think these four could be better. I mean, I know about Partey sort of the end of his career, but we got what is he? 26, Gabriel 25, Rice is 24, Saliba 22. But I was just watching it, like you guys talking about Saliba. Fair play to Arsenal actually, and fair play to Arteta actually saying, look, go learn, ply your trade in France. And we were dying for a centre half, weren't we? We were saying, "I'll get him back, get him playing." And fair play to Saliba as well, because he could go easily. He's just gone, "No, I'm playing every week in, week out. I don't want to come back to you. I feel like I've been treated, blah blah blah." But clearly, behind the scenes, it was all being managed really, really well.
Mm.
And I haven't seen a centre half like him. He's just phenomenal. He's like Dennis Bergkamp, isn't he? He's like the Iceman. He's so cool on the ball.
He is.
He's strong in the tackle, but he reads the game really well. If you watch it, I watched it yesterday. He doesn't really make many tackles, and that tells you how good he actually is as a centre half. His positioning, his interceptions, his passing, his ability to dribble out from the back, and he's just turned 22. And I agree with you, Dan. I don't know a better centre half in the world than him. And I was watching your show the other night. You talked about Upamecano and how good he was coming through, but. Look at the leagues he was coming through. He's coming to the Premier League, Saliba, and he hit the ground running last year. I know we all talked about ifs and buts, didn't we? And I'll put my neck on it. If he stays fit last year, I think we win it. I really do, because he weren't at Anfield last year, was he? He didn't play.
No, at Oldham, didn't we?
Yeah. But I mean, Lee would tell you from our coaching days, if you're strong enough with your back line and your middle four or whatever, middle three, whatever you play, when you have players like that around you, it just makes you happy, doesn't it? You got some monsters in front of you. You're going to war, and to go to Anfield like we did yesterday, and I think with that 5v1 situation, it was Rice, wasn't it? Who's the last one back? But if you actually watch it, you see Saliba like storming past Nunez to get back, and don't get me wrong, they should have scored, didn't they? But we're at that. I said to my mate Richie, I said to him, we hadn't had a back line like that in years. And growing up, as Lee would tell you, Tony Adams, the famous five, as we used to call them, and then obviously Campbell, Toure, Cole, Lauren. Look at what we got now with Timber to come back in as well, because
and Tommy Asu as well.
Yeah, and he's been playing well this year. We've got a backline squad, if you like, which is phenomenal. And if we are to win the league, there'll be a huge reason why we do it. Just we need to fire at the other end. For me, I think that's where our issues are.
Yeah, listen, I think you're talking facts, and I think that when we get everybody fit, we still need Timber and Tommy Asu back. And Timber one has been gutting, to be fair, but I don't think he's too far away. And likewise, Tommy Asu. That moves me on nicely to the goal we did concede, Lee. I was disappointed. I've got to say, I was disappointed because I really like this player on the football, and I think moving forward, he's really good. And last season in particular was pivotal. I honestly am starting to get a bit peeved now with Zinchenko defensively. I've never rated him defensively. I've always thought he was poor. I always thought Kieran Tierney was much better, and everyone took the mick out of me in the end. Oh, you just love Tierney. Yeah, I did love Kieran Tierney. I can't lie. I liked him a lot. I don't know why people didn't, if I'm honest. I thought he was class. And I look at things defensively and I think, what are you doing? Now, I looked at it again. Yeah, maybe Gabriel can be to blame for it as well, but I'm not going to blame him because I think he's been a monster all season. Defensively, Zinchenko knows where this lad's going. This lad is a world-class player. It's a world-class pass from Trent. It's a world-class touch from Salah, and it's a world-class finish from Salah. But you know where the guy's going. There's nobody in the box. Show him on the other side. Just keep him that way. He's gonna have to cross it to nobody. But he lets him cut inside so easily. It's just so poor. And I think now the goals we've conceded and where we've dropped points in some games, the Wolves one, it was Zinchenko who messed up. Yeah, we didn't lose that game. We won it. Fulham, he gives the ball away. They score from the corner. Chelsea, we were very, very lucky a couple of games there. Again, he's giving the ball away all game again yesterday, and he gets done by Salah. I'm starting to get a bit annoyed with him, and I actually think he's not a first starter now, Lee. I think when Timber comes back, he's going to play. Maybe even Tommy Asu's ahead of him in the way that he's been playing. Is there a shout for Zinchenko to be moved into midfield in some games? A lot of people say yes. I don't know. I've not really watched enough in Ukraine to see where he plays there and how he plays there. But I'm starting to get a bit annoyed with it, Lee. Defensively, it's just there's no excusing that yesterday for me. That was just really poor from Zinchenko, Lee.
Yeah, listen, I think there is an argument to put him in midfield when we got players available, like, you know, especially like if there's an argument for him to play him in midfield on their next game because you know, Havertz is suspended, isn't he? But listen, I think first of all, like if Tomiyasu plays in that goal, that doesn't happen because he stops the cross, the pass, because the pass he edges it out. Yeah, I mean, so he missed times of flight and everything like that. Listen, I've watched it back a couple of times. I know, like, people turn around and say, "Oh yeah, cut him in and so on," and he didn't do enough. He didn't defend it well, like, you know what I mean. But there was no one out there giving him a help. It was one-on-one situation. I think that if you have a look at when Saka gets the ball, he had 2 to 3 on him. Like Endo was coming across every single time. Poor defending. Poor. It was too easy, if I'll be honest. Like, you know, and you can't let that happen. He should have been a little bit better defensively. Then I go on. What did Salah do after that or during the whole game? I don't think he was that dangerous. So from that point of view, Zinchenko done okay. So when people say he's a liability, dangerous, where he was a liability yesterday was when he was giving the ball away, which is his strength. That's where I don't want so much about his defending. Yes, for the goal, get that right, take that away from him. His defending weren't that bad because Salah didn't roast him. He wasn't given like an extra player like the left backs were for Liverpool and Saka. But he kept giving the ball away, and what he was doing in dangerous areas at times, like, you know what I mean? And it is that, you know, as a mafia boss says, risk for reward. When you're 1-0 up or 1-1, do you need to be doing those risks? Do you need to be doing it? With it, what I will say is he continued to do it all game. So one, I think, you know, I'll give him his due that he's brave enough to continue to have the ball, even though he gave it away on 4 occasions at one stage. So is he being told to do that and play like that? But I don't think he was that bad yesterday as people are making out. But he wanted to give the ball away a lot yesterday, like, you know. And that's the way he's going to play, I'm afraid. Like, you know, that is it there. Like, you know, he does vacate that position. But I think that if Arsenal are going to improve and whatever, I do think that he needs to work on his one-to-one defending. It's not good enough at times. It's not good enough. No. I don't think he's aggressive enough. You know, if you have a look at that yesterday, he just sticks out a foot. Be aggressive on him, you know what I mean? As you're running him, bump him, do something, you know what I mean? Get tight. And if he's going to beat you, make him sure that he does beat you hard. And I don't think that he done that. But there was sometimes he was aggressive in the defending. So I think if you look back on the whole game, defensively, he wasn't as bad as what everybody's saying he is. But it was that giving the ball away too much and all that, like, you know. And I'm going to be really honest. You know, I think that if Tomiyasu was fit, he would have played.
And he should have played as well. We missed him, if I'm honest, defensively. I thought.
Yeah,
I think
unfortunately, he's injured, and so in that game there. Now, when we come to home, I think Zinchenko becomes vital to us because of the way we play and things like that. But also, I think he's not at the standard as he was last season, but you can say that, I think, with 4 or 5 players.
Yeah, I agree.
And his normal self for me, you know, normally, you know, he's cheering the crowd up and he's and mental when we score. he's not getting us forward as much, and which is having an impact on Martinelli as well at the moment.
Yeah, that's true.
I agree. The defending. I mean, I don't care whether it's Mo Salah or if it's Joe Bloggs. You know, he's you look at his body shape. He's basically body shape going him inside, and that's ridiculous. You know, he's got to show him down the line, and you know, you defend the cross, don't you? But I mean, don't get me wrong. If I'm no super coach or anything like that, but I'm looking at Gabriel. You got Saliba coming back, tracking the run. In fact, if Gabriel can put his arm out and points at him, and then Gabriel doesn't get across as well. So it could have been avoided big time, but it was too easy. Whether it was Mo Salah or anyone, they gave him far too much room. Zinchenko, his body position was not in the right. His shoulders were completely wrong, diagonally the wrong way, basically, which should have been showing him down the line, but instead it was showing him inside. But as soon as he's come inside, I'd expect the centre half to be coming across and stopping that. And there was, I think Gabriel see it too late. Actually, he tried to get across, but by then it's rifled in the top corner. But I don't know. I don't know whether he's playing with an injury. I don't know. He's just not his normal self like he was last year.
No.
And it's definitely having an effect on Martinelli as well, because he's not scoring much. He's only got a couple this year, isn't he? But I don't know. Yeah, I think this is why they brought Timber in, haven't they? And I think it's a big shame. So I know Arteta absolutely, he raves about him, didn't he? And he hasn't even played yet. So I just hope he refines his form, Zinchenko. But he don't see him himself. Like it seems the same. Not quite.
No, the thing is as well. Like if I'm Zinchenko, I've got the experience. I've won all these trophies with Man City. I've come to Arsenal to try and do the same. It couldn't really work out any better for him in his mind, because he's like, hang on a minute, they've shipped out Kieran Tierney, so that's definitely my spot now. Tommy Asu's injured. Timber's out for a long time. If I sort myself out defensively, they ain't getting back in his side. And he ain't. He ain't sorted himself out defensively. You're right about Martinelli, which we'll come on to in a minute. But I think also with Zinchenko, I just look at him, his footballing brain sometimes shows a lot of naivety for a very experienced lad. And I think when he's got defensive frailties like that, playing him at left back, and I said this on my fan cam yesterday, Trent Alexander-Arnold is a wonderful footballer, but people question him playing at right back because of his defensive frailties. But you can't say that about Trent and then not about Zinchenko, because it's absolutely the same. Like Zinchenko going forward and playing this inverted role worked for us last season, but it's as if people just go, yeah, I know that, Tommy Asu, Tierney and Timber are better defensively, but can't play that inverted role. So we're going to have to leak some goals down that side, I'm afraid, because it's no, it shouldn't be like that. It should be, how do you improve every single position? And I'm not a massive hater of Zinchenko. I actually quite like him as a footballer in terms of when he's on the ball. But defensively, I think he needs to get better massively, man. So we've got to see an improvement from him. Adrian, I'll stick with you, man, about Martinelli, because I'm not worried about him, but I am starting to have concerns about where his form's gone out of the window, because I love the work rate. He never, ever comes off the pitch and you think, he weren't even trying. That's never the case with Martinelli. But he has been affected this season. 2 goals in the 18 games that we've played is a bit of a worrying stat in terms of numbers. I understand that Saka, people have got concerns with, but when you look at his numbers, Saka's still scoring, assisting, and in the Champions League, I think he's got the biggest GA. So he's definitely there or thereabouts. His performances, by the way, can still improve. But Martinelli, I love him. I absolutely love him. He's probably one of my favourite players, if not my favourite player. But he ain't quite been with it. I don't know what you put that down to, Adrian.
Well, I don't know. He's, when a player comes onto the scene and he, he's outstanding and he's running the show, teams, they probably put a little bit more effort in training us to try and stop the players that are going to make a difference from the other team. I do believe Zinchenko not getting forward like he did last year is a big blow for him. He seems to become a bit isolated, didn't it, on that left wing? And he's. I was watching it quite closely with him yesterday. Defenders. I mean, I can't. Was it Gomez who came on right back?
Yes, he was quality.
He was excellent. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah,
he played at left back. He played on Saka's side, didn't he?
Yeah, he was on Saka's side.
Canute, I think it was.
Konate, yeah, he's quality.
Konate, I mean,
defensively, they were quality, weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Martinelli was good yesterday, and both of Saka was good. What they do, they play quite high, don't they? And if you give them room, they'll destroy you. And I think what teams are doing now, they're not flying their wing backs or left back, right back, whatever you want to call them, on anymore to try and nullify the threat of both Saka and Martinelli. And I think you heard it on Jamie Carragher yesterday. He said, both of them have been outstanding today. They have. I just think teams are setting up differently against us now, which is obviously going to make it harder for the likes of Martinelli and Saka. And I think we've been proven right with that. Saka's getting doubled up virtually every game, and if you even look at it, Martinelli probably is the same. I'm not worried about him, if I'm honest. He's 20s and he's a youngster, and he will improve. And I think that the coaching staff have got a big job with him on the training ground to do something a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, look, he's not setting the world alight as he did last year. But I just think that's because teams are playing differently against us. I think they're setting up to be harder to beat, especially away from home. But he's not scoring goals, but he's nullifying threats from the opposition by stopping them, their fullbacks getting forward. But yeah, he's a phenomenal player, and I've even said it to Lee. I just don't know why I think he'll become one of the next big stars in the world. I think he's got that mentality, isn't he? He's got that I want to be the best.
Tenacity
mentality.
as well.
Yeah, and the thing is, last year was, well, I wouldn't say a shock for us, was it? It was more like, oh my God, what's gone on here? Arsenal are right up there, considering where we had been, and maybe we were a bit of a shock to teams last year, the way we were playing, the way we destroyed teams, and I just do honestly think teams are setting up a little bit different against us this year, and it's making it harder for them. But they've got to find a way. And there's Saka as well. He's not been as effective as Martinelli, but they're still doing certain jobs that a lot of people won't see, where they're stopping other teams from getting forward, especially down the wings. So hopefully he'll turn it around and find something in training where he'll do something different. I'm sure they're working on that now. But both of them were really good yesterday. Like I said, Jamie Carragher said it, didn't he? They were excellent. But I think the goals will come. They will, especially towards the end of the season. They'll be so important. It's just what we've got on the bench, which does worry me a little bit. If we lose one of them, who's going to go out there and do that? I know Trossard came on yesterday, and I thought he was excellent, by the way. But on the other side, everyone talks about Saka looking like he's a bit burnt out, but I don't think he is actually. I think he's good. He's fit as a fiddle. It's just teams are setting up differently. He wants to play. You've got two on you all the time. It makes it twice as hard, doesn't it?
Of course it does. Listen, everyone looked at what they did last season, and I do think they shocked a lot of people last season. 15 goals each. Had Ødegaard 15 goals as well. So I think now there's double teaming on us, and I think that we now need to try and think of a way. But Lee, here's one for you, man. And this might not be right. This is just what I'm thinking and how I've seen Arsenal play, particularly on that left-hand side. It might not be a negative, this. It might just be a kind of something that I might have seen. Is the form of Zinchenko and the playing style of Zinchenko and Kai Havertz affecting Martinelli on the left-hand side? Now, what I mean by that is not they've been poor, so Martinelli's now been poor. Quite the opposite. I think when you look at what Kai Havertz has done in the last month, he's actually been quite good, but Martinelli hasn't really been. Now, when Kai Havertz is playing a little bit more high and you've got Zinchenko bombing down that left, is that then taken away from Martinelli, or am I just trying to make excuses for what Martinelli's not doing right?
No, I think let's get the excuses. Get the excuses out about Martinelli. I think Zinchenko's playing differently. He's not been playing as regular as this season. They've been playing Tomiyasu down there. I think when Saka played, Saka went into positions that allowed Martinelli to express himself a little bit more. He's had to change it a little bit now with Havertz in there. Different players, different styles. You know what I mean? I think Havertz is doing a different sort of a job. That's the excuses out of the way. When you're one-on-ones and you're losing it every single time, as what you done yesterday in that second half, then you've got a problem. That ain't nothing to do with the fullback making a run and whatever like that. I do think that does help sometimes. You ever look at Saka, he gets the ball and Ben White busts his gut to get round the side 15 times a game sometimes. If it's 50, I say it's 15, probably say 10. He probably gets the ball once, Ben White, twice. You know what I mean? The other times he's really there for a decoy. And that gives the option for Saka to go inside and whatever like. I don't see Zinchenko doing that. And I don't see Kai Havertz doing that. What I did see with Saka last season, Saka would make that diagonal run going right across in there, and then that would then open up a bit of a space between fullback and central defender for Martinelli to exploit and get his goals. He's not got that option now. But in saying that, in the second half yesterday, he was poor. Now, I'm putting a little bit down to the pitch with the slipping and everything like that. He should have scored yesterday, but he slips. He still causes problems, even though he was poor. I thought in the first half he done okay. I thought he done okay in the first half. A couple of runs that were exciting, no end products, so people will say that. I also think that Odegaard really helps Saka with his play and everything like that, and he takes players away or he brings it. Yeah, we haven't got that on that left hand side. It's a little bit different, with Havertz. By the way, who's starting to get a little bit more intricate, but not at the influence of Odegaard. And he's one of those players, Havertz. So I think is going to end up being the one that gets on, going past the fullback, central defenders and fullback, and nicking goals. Slightly different change. What I liked about Havertz yesterday performance is that there was a stage when they was on top of us. He got the ball and slowed things down and just kept us ticking all right and all that. He's not there at this moment in time to be feeding Martinelli, and Martinelli doesn't get fed as much, if there was a couple of like chickens in a hen, old Saka would be like a lot fatter. He gets fed a lot quicker, a lot more.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Martinelli would be looking at doesn't get the same sort of service. But yesterday when he particularly in that last, he's got to find a way. Now listen, I thought Canate was fantastic, by the way, that yesterday, so giving him credit. Every time he took him on, every time he lost out to him, but it happened to a lot of players yesterday, Diaz didn't really do nothing, did he? Why? Because he was against good defenders. So I think that it is a little bit of a concern because it's, we've seen Martinelli play very, very well against Liverpool, by the way, in the last couple of games, scored against them. Maybe they looked at it and said, right, we can do that. But I think he has got to start finding a few different ways of looking at it. One thing I did see in the chat, I don't know what it was, it's gone past now, was that he's a little bit too much head down at times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes he's got to just... Do you know what he's got? Slow the play down and then go, you know what I mean? Listen, I don't think he's been that bad this season. You know what I mean? He's just not getting the goal. If he was adding some goals to his game, everybody going, "Oh, Martin, he's great," and all that. I don't think there's been too much difference between his performances this season and last season. It's just that he hasn't got the goals, but he's going to have to start picking up his game, because if Arsenal are going to win this league, right, we need Martinelli of last season.
Yeah.
50 goals, scoring goals, you know what I mean? 2 this season, you know what I mean? He's not good enough. He's not good enough. And yesterday it didn't look like scoring, so it is starting to be a concern. I was just doing a show earlier on and they were saying, would you drop him for this game? No, hell no, I wouldn't drop him. He plays the next game against West Ham. If he has another shocker, then he's going to be under the pump a little bit, But I do think that it is, as you said, it's not a worry yet, but there is slight concerns about his form.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's right to concern the things we have concerns over, personally. I don't think that means that we don't rate Martinelli, and certainly I wouldn't be dropping him at all. I think he gives 110, and I think he's got enough credit in the bank for sure to be one of my favourite players. Listen, let's just get a quick opinion on it, because I personally thought it was, but I want to ask you both. I think we're incredibly lucky, and I know it's a little match of the day as well, how that wasn't a penalty. Odegaard there. I know he slipped over again. It's another one who slipped over. But he's pretty much played bloody netball, basketball in the box, and we got away with it. I mean, I'm lucky, I'm glad, but that was quite lucky. I've seen them definitely given before. So what were both your thoughts, mate? Am I being harsh, or did you think that was a penalty?
Oh, Stonewall.
Yeah, I thought it was as well.
Yeah, even Saliba in his interview said no, it was a penalty. So, yeah, well, we're lucky. Thing is, again, why ain't VAR sorted that out?
No idea.
There's been times where we've been stung by VAR, but we've got away one there yesterday. It was a penalty, without doubt.
Yeah, Lee?
Well, he does slip, you know what I mean? So I'm saying it. Yeah, I'm saying it could have been given. When you look at the one that Saliba got given against Chelsea, you know what I mean? And then this one gets given, you know what I mean? I was very surprised that it weren't. I think what does help him is that he's slipping. But before Liverpool fans go, it was a penalty and all that, so was Havertz one as penalty as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought that was well. Anywhere on the
You
pitch,
think?
anywhere else on the
Really?
pitch.
I don't know. I thought he needed to get up. I thought he was bloody diving, Havertz, for that one.
He's coming at the back of him like, and he's got nowhere near the ball. You know what I mean? And like, contacts, he's gone down. He's gone down. But like, you know what I mean? I've seen Son get back 18 penalties like that, and Harry Kane over the years. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not. Listen, I think we could have got away. I'm very surprised we got away with it because it was at Anfield and everything like that. And everybody's going, oh, yeah, we was 1-0 up at the time. You know what I mean? It might, they might not have scored that next goal. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, so I can see why it weren't given, but if it was given, I don't think you could argue it, could you? Really, that's how I look at it. Like,
No. Listen,
if it was against us, you'd be.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be. I wouldn't be fuming. That was a penalty for me. But also, I actually think the Havertz one was as well. Anywhere else on the pitch, that's a free kick, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think.
Well,
again,
it's a good point. It is a good point.
It's 50-50 the Havertz one, but we did get away with that handball yesterday. I like the basketball analogy.
Yeah.
I couldn't
believe it. I thought, is he serious?
And also, if the thing is, and I will say this, it's handball. Let's say that it's handball, right? But if he doesn't slip, does he handball that?
No.
So, you know what I mean? Like, so it's fantastic.
But we're not, that's the thing, Lee. We're not saying that this is where I don't know the rules anymore. Honestly, I'm 36 years old.
I don't know their rules on
and handball. I thought I knew rules. I thought I knew the rules of football after 36 years, but I don't. I'm quite happy to say I don't know. I haven't got a clue what handball is. I don't know. I have a clue what the VAR.
What is it? Was it law?
Yeah, exactly. Section 1.97 or whatever. It's just mad, isn't it? I don't understand it all. So, listen, we got away one perhaps, but then, like you say, if we should have had one as well, then the draw was probably the right result. Listen, boys, we've gone into 2 games now before 2024 starts against West Ham and Fulham. 2 tough games. Listen, they're all tough, aren't they? We don't know. We're never going to get a good, easy game. West Ham, I thought, looked pretty good in parts yesterday against Man United, but I thought they were shambolic against Liverpool midweek, but obviously it was a different team. And then we got Fulham away, who I just can't put my money on at the moment. They're either winning 5-0 or they're losing to Burnley at home. I mean, what is going on? So I don't know what to expect from those 2, but I like to think that we can get 6 points, and that will then put us top of the tree come 2024. But I saw a horrendous stat yesterday, which said that Liverpool or Arsenal will sit top of the tree. One of them will. Now, it is obviously now Arsenal. The only 2 teams that have not won the league from top spot is Arsenal and Liverpool. So is that a good thing that we're first, or would we rather be second and not have the omen or superstitious? But it depends how superstitious you are. But Arsenal and Liverpool are the only 2 teams that have not won the league after being top at Christmas. And we are top at Christmas. And hopefully we're top come 2024 if we win those 2 games. Adrian, let's start with you. What's your thoughts this year? Like, I look at what 2023 has brought from Arsenal, and it's been all the emotions you can imagine. Towards the start of it, we obviously thought we were going to win the league, and we threw it away come April, May. And then we had a summer of pre-season, a Declan Rice signing, and we've now come into the end of 2023 sitting top of the tree again. Does this Arsenal seem different to you now?
Oh, they're I wouldn't say totally different teams, but we've kind of been we've gone to a team where we're really, really hard to beat, aren't we? And like I said earlier on, defenders will win your leagues, and I don't know. I've got. Last year was a big surprise for us, wasn't it? And we did throw away, but our squad weren't good enough, and also we had players in that position before. The way I'd like to look at it is that we were top of the league this time last year, and hopefully we've learned from it. And hopefully Arteta's learned from it as well, and hopefully the board will learn from it as well, and bring a couple of players in January to hopefully push us over the line. But I don't know. It's a tougher league this year than last year. The bigger clubs have come back, haven't they? Liverpool were nowhere to be seen last year. They're right up there. Man City. Well, how many times has Man City been in this position and gone on and stormed it? So you just don't know what's going to come. But we are certainly a much more robust team than we were last year. We're a lot more defensively better. But it's up, like I said earlier, it's up the other end that I worry. We don't score enough. We're not free flowing like we were last year. And I think one of the big reasons for that is Xhaka's not there, and Partey's not been playing. So I'm kind of hoping that Partey, Timber, as they say, two new signings coming in where they haven't played all season. I've always said about Partey, he just gives us that little bit extra in midfield, doesn't he? And just hoping that the boys come back fit and stay fit, because we lose someone like Saliba again or Declan Rice, then we're going to struggle. So for me, there's a toughness in our side that we've been longing for a long time, haven't we? And we've finally got it. And now we've just got to try and turn it on its head and do it at the other end, because we're certainly, I think our numbers are so far down on this time last year regarding goals and what we're doing in games and winning games. But I've said it to Lee, I think I said it to you, Dan, as well. I don't think we've played that great this year. I don't,
No.
We haven't really hit top gear in it. I mean, the Lons game in Champions League, but it's a completely different competition, isn't it? We haven't really blown the side away yet, and I'm hoping that will come in the new year when we get players back, and hopefully the ones
that is interesting though, Adrian, isn't it? That in the Champions League, our attack was on fire. I think one game against Lons, they all scored, but in the Premier League, we've been a lot more resolute and a different style. So, I mean, we can do it. I think it is a little bit of style that's changed, and I think Arteta's been a little bit more cautious in the league. But I just wonder if in the new year we might see a little bit of the Arsenal of last season, Adrian.
Well, I hope so, because I haven't seen it this year, if I'm honest. I can't actually remember a game this year where we've turned up and blown teams away. But I suppose it doesn't really matter how you win, but defensively, you've got to be there to be able to win a league, and we've got it, and we just haven't got that. We haven't fired up front yet. I don't know whether it's the change of Havertz and Xhaka going, Partey not being in there, and like you said earlier, the players that have not really performed to the level they did last year. But I also think a few of our players have been found out a little bit. Like I said, it's more of a surprise with Martinelli and Saka last year. I mean, we know Saka how good he is, but teams are setting up differently against us and making it a lot harder, for us to go, because. I mean, if I'm a manager of a team and Arsenal coming to town, I ain't setting my boys up to go and try and win a game. If my side ain't good enough to do so, I'm going to frustrate them. And I think that's what teams are doing. And I totally agree with what both you're saying. We need to maybe find a different way. And I think he will, with players coming back in. I'm really looking forward to seeing Timber play, actually. It's going to be difficult for him in a long layoff with an injury, but he might make the difference as well. But we're definitely a more robust team. I like the fact that we're winning games in the last couple of seconds of certain games like we used to. We don't give up, but we're not blowing teams away this year. But hopefully that will come in 2024 and push us towards the league. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope so as well, man. Listen, judges. Lastly, James said to me yesterday, "Are Arsenal going to win this league, Dan?" And I said, "Look, I think if we are going to, I think we can win it. Don't get me wrong. I do think we can win it. My problem is Man City still. And, LB, who's everyone knows from my channel, big Man City fan, he said, look, we've got 1 win in 6 and you guys are literally touching distance from us. How? He's like, how? Like, that is mad. You should be flying ahead, or Liverpool should be flying ahead, but they're not. That just makes you think we're going to win the league still. And I can't get that out of my head. Listen, Pep Guardiola, I know, can win the league, and I never, ever will doubt him. The only thing that could happen that can change my mind is that one thing, Man City lose some key players like we did last season. We've already seen what they're like without Rodri. He got injured again in the Club World Cup, and it don't look good from what people are saying, but there's some rumours saying that he ain't that bad. KDB, I mean, he's coming back, and that is going to be horrible because KDB and Haaland together go together like eggs and bacon. They just literally score. And I think as well, the other thing, Arsenal dipping into the transfer market, because I think if we don't, I'm even more certain we won't win the league. I think if we do go and get the couple of players that I think we clearly need and that every fan knows we clearly need, the bench yesterday, not really exciting, is it? Like Trossard, big fan. But other than that, it's the same subs. I know the subs of Arsenal. Trossard will come on for Martinelli. Eddie will come on for Jesus. And if we've got him available, Tomiyasu or Kivior or someone like that might come on if we need to hold a draw or hold the win. That is it. That's all we can offer. We can offer nothing else.
Yeah,
Jorginho, he can come on and settle down. Reece Nelson ain't trusted. Smith Rowe ain't trusted. Fabi Vieira's injured. We've got nothing that can come on and go, God, look at that. We are 1-0 up. And now we're bringing on, even if it was Martinelli's coming on now because we're playing someone else ahead of him, or we're bringing on an Ivan Toney who's coming on now. That's what I think Arsenal were lacking. And they're the two things I think, if we was to have happen, I know we're relying a bit on Man City, but more importantly, concentrating on our own game. I think we put ourselves in the best position to win this league if we go and dip into the market league.
Yeah, I think we will have to dip in it if we're to do it. Listen, I looked at Liverpool's bench. There was players on their bench yesterday I've never heard of.
Yeah, good point.
And the same with Man City. Man City last season, they had someone like Mahrez coming on and changing things. They've got Rico Lewis coming on now, who's a good player, but not at the same level. So I do think when that Manchester City fan says, "Oh well, why are you not? We've lost 6 games, or we haven't won in 6 games. Why aren't you? Why haven't you gone away with it? Because there's some bloody good teams in this league. You know what I mean? Aston Villa are a good side. We probably should have got something from that lot, but we didn't. Teams are beating everybody at this moment in time. Last season, we was in the league at Christmas stage. I think 5 games. How many games we played now?
18.
Was it 15 games last season when
the World Cup, wasn't it?
Because of the World Cup. There was only 2 teams in the title race. Everybody else has fallen after.
Now there's 4 if you look at it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, there's still
maybe 5. I just don't want to say their name.
Listen, they're in the hunt at the minute. You know what I mean? They're getting all the decisions go their way again yesterday. I see. But listen,
I'll tell you what. Actually, on that, didn't Everton batter them? Did you not think?
Yeah, listen, Tottenham are not as good as Tottenham are not as good as what everybody says they are. You know what I mean? They run out of steam, if I'll be honest, with the way that they play. And I think that's one thing about Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal could have played the style they did last season with this season with the Champions League and everything. So it will be interesting to see what happens from that point of view. But I do think that this season there's more teams in it. I do think that Manchester City got a difficult game against Everton coming up. A lot harder to go to Everton than it was last season. And points will be taken off of teams. I think that Arsenal are very much in with it. I think we're a very, very good side. I think we're a very, very good side. But I do think that maybe we need just that striker now. I looked at that game yesterday. 3 times the ball was whipped across the box. And Martinelli, Jesus was one of them that was making the crosses, by the way. They're all on their heels. They're not that natural player just to walk in. The one that Jesus done, I don't know if you remember it, when he probably should have gone for a header, but he chested it down. It was a sensational bit of skill against Van Dijk, by the way, and then whizzed it across the pitch. No one in there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's something that they've got probably to have a little look at there. You know what I mean? I think defensively we're very, very good. Once Tomiyasu comes back, hopefully, I think someone's saying it could be like Boxing Day, but I hear it's going to be early January. If not, if Timber comes back, I'm not holding out much hope on that one. We'll see. But defensively, I think we've got enough. Thomas Partey coming back is going to be key. I still think that's key. I think that as good as Declan Rice is for us and all that, I like the way that Partey gets the ball off the back 4 and then makes those passes. I think he does it. Yeah, in transition, he does it better than anybody. In tight areas when we're defending and can get us going. So I think that he's going to be key to it. So it'd be very, very interesting, you know what I mean? And listen, Manchester City, of course they're going to be there and all that, but everybody's going on about, De Bruyne is going to come back and be this. No one, he's been out for 4 months, so he might not come back in at the ground running. He might, who knows? And they still might pick up a few more injuries, but I look at their bench and it's not as strong as it was last season. So if Arsenal can just make 1 or 2 signings, I think that we're there. If we don't make those signings, guys, and we stay injury free, we'll still be very, very close come the end of the season.
Yeah, we will. Listen, I have no doubt that we're in a title race for sure, and I think it is a harder Premier League this year. I really do. But I think I said it to Adrian. We've definitely been to some horrible places already, and I know we've got some horrible places to come. Obviously, we've got to go to Old Trafford, which is never. I know they're playing terrible at the moment, but it's never easy. Lost there last year. Got to go to Etihad. Got to go to North London Derby away from home. So we've still got them all to come. Don't get me wrong. But we've been to St James's. We've been to Villa Park. We've been now to Anfield. We've also been to places that you forget that. We dropped points at Goodison Park last year. We've been there and we won there now. Brentford is never easy. Last minute winner. Got been there now. So we've been to some hard places as well. No ground is ever easy in this league.
And Chelsea's going to be hard then. They get better. They will get better now, Chelsea. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've been there as well, haven't we? Been Stamford Bridge as well. So they, like you say, they will.
They will take points off the teams.
They can't get any worse. That's for sure. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, listen, I think you're right about January. I think we have to go and dip in the market. I don't know what positions we'll get, if we'll get any at all. I don't know what money we've got to spend. I don't know if anyone's going to be out the door, because that's a question mark. Is anyone going to have to leave for us to free up some funds? There's talks of us receiving bids from sort of up to 30 million for Eddie Nketiah. Would they be interested in getting a striker and getting some money for him and upgrading on him? All question marks, really. But you're right about Thomas Partey. You're right about Timber and Tomiyasu. Let's remember, though, that we are losing Partey and Tomiyasu in January for the Asian Cup and the African Cup of Nations. So both those players will probably get fit for that and then come back injured. Probably. So them two will definitely be there. Listen, we're going to leave it there, people. Massive thanks to all of you for being here on Christmas Eve. I want to say a massive Merry Christmas to all of you, and we will definitely see you before the new year. Big up to Adrian as well, mate. I hope you have a wicked day tomorrow and Boxing Day as well. Thanks so much for coming on, mate.
No worries. Really enjoyed it as always. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you guys. Merry Christmas to everyone watching. And yeah, we're top of the league. And we're talking like we haven't played very well yet, so I'll take it.
100% we will, man. Lee, massive Merry Christmas to you, mate.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you and all your family. Same to you, Adrian. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody in the chat. Merry Christmas to everybody that's followed us through the year. And listen, have a fantastic couple of days and enjoy the time with the family. Precious times, by the way, with the family and that. So enjoy it and don't eat too much.
Well, eat some, but just don't eat too much or drink too much. Enjoy yourself, people. Take it easy and up the Arsenal.